All right, so we're diving deep today into Temecula politics. And, we're going way beyond those city council meetings, right? We're talking about the real power plays, the stuff most people don't even see, the whispers. And today, specifically, we're focused on a guy named Jeff Pack and the One Temecula Valley Political Action Committee, One TV PAC, as most folks call it.
Right, One TV PAC. Yeah. There's always so much going on behind the scenes, isn't there? The real levers of power.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And get this. Multiple people have said they actually try to avoid talking to Jeff Pack on the phone. Like they much prefer to communicate with him in writing. Isn't that kind of strange? What do you think that's all about?
Well, I think when someone insists on things being written down, it often comes down to trust, doesn't it? It's like they want a record of everything that was said, just in case, Maybe there have been situations in the past where promises were made verbally, but then things didn't quite turn out the way they expected.
That's an interesting point. And it makes you wonder what's really going on in those conversations, right?
Right.
Especially since we've seen how Pack often uses his busy schedule as a way to kind of deflect, He's always talking about meeting with district and board folks or national investigative journalists or even state ed folks.
Oh, yeah. It definitely creates this image of someone who's incredibly connected and in demand.
Right.
But it can also be a tactic to avoid direct conversations, especially when those conversations might involve tough questions or challenges.
Yeah, it's like he's trying to create this information imbalance where he always seems to hold all the cards.
Exactly. He's controlling the narrative. And sometimes it seems like he's actually downplaying concerns or shifting blame. We've seen instances where he basically says, you don't know the full story, or this is just social media drama.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic deflection tactic.
Right. It's a way of dismissing valid concerns and manipulating perceptions. And it makes people hesitant to speak up, which can be really damaging to open dialogue and community engagement.
It creates this atmosphere where people feel like they can't question anything. And then there's the whole One TV PAC endorsement process. It's like this big mystery, right? On the one hand, PAC says it's completely transparent, but then he also suggests that people don't really understand how it works.
Yeah, there's a real contradiction there, isn't there? It's like he wants to have it both ways. He wants to appear open and accessible, but he also wants to maintain a certain level of control.
Right. It makes you wonder, what are the actual criteria for getting endorsed by One TV PAC? Is it really about community values, or is there something else going on?
And that leads us to another interesting point. The perception that PAC often prioritizes political strategy over genuine community representation. There's that case where he reportedly advises a candidate to downplay LGBTQ plus issues for fear of alienating conservative voters.
Yeah, that was pretty controversial.
It really raises questions about whose interests he's actually serving, doesn't it? Is he truly representing the diverse needs of the community, or is he more focused on winning at all costs?
It seems like some people feel like he's more interested in controlling the narrative than in actually listening to what the community wants.
Yeah, and that's led to accusations of elitism and gatekeeping. This feeling that he's trying to handpick who gets to be in power.
It's like he wants to be the puppet master of Temecula politics.
And that can be really dangerous, can't it? Because when power gets concentrated in the hands of a few, it undermines the whole democratic process.
It creates this disconnect between the people in power and the people they're supposed to be representing.
And that's never a good thing. We've been talking a lot about these behind-the-scenes maneuvers, but what does it all actually mean for the average person living in Temecula? Why should they care about all this whispering and power play?
That's a great question. It's easy to feel like this stuff doesn't really affect us, right? Like it's just politics as usual.
Right. But the reality is that these power dynamics have a direct impact on our lives. They influence everything from who gets elected to what policies are prioritized, how our tax dollars are spent, the kind of community Temecula becomes.
So this isn't just about abstract political theory. It has real-world consequences.
Exactly. Think about it. If certain voices are being silenced or marginalized, if decisions are being made behind closed doors without true community input, then the needs and aspirations of a significant portion of the population might be overlooked.
And that can lead to a sense of frustration, a feeling that the system isn't working for them.
Precisely. So even if you're not someone who typically follows local politics closely, understanding these power dynamics is crucial because they're not just shaping the political landscape, they're shaping the very fabric of our community, the opportunities available, the sense of belonging, the overall well-being of Temecula.
So what can people do? Let's say someone is listening to this and they're thinking, okay, this is messed up, but I'm just one person. What difference can I make? What advice would you give them?
Well, first of all, I'd say don't underestimate the power of one voice. Change starts with awareness. And the fact that you're listening, that you're engaging with these issues, is already a step in the right direction. And you're not alone. There are clearly others in Temecula who share these concerns.
So what are some concrete actions people can take?
There are actually quite a few things people can do. Start by paying attention to local politics, even if it's just reading the local news or attending a city council meeting once in a while. Familiarize yourself with the issues, the players, the decision-making processes.
Knowledge is power, right?
Absolutely. And once you have that knowledge, share it. Talk to your friends and neighbors, spark conversations about these issues, raise awareness. Support candidates who align with your values, who champion transparency and community engagement.
And don't be afraid to make your voice heard.
Exactly. Contact your elected officials, attend community forums, write letters to the editor, participate in online discussions. Hold them accountable for their actions and decisions, and don't be discouraged if you don't see immediate results. Change takes time and persistence, but it is possible. Remember, every movement starts with individuals who are willing to stand up and speak out.
It's about reclaiming that sense of agency